Yes.
Yeah, my booster.
Wait.
Hi.
Let me move the lid.
Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, that's better. Hi, I'm Christy. I'm an alcoholic. Wow, I haven't felt this tall in a really long time. Thank you for having me. What an honor and just the scariest moment of my entire life to speak at Love and Service. So it's been a really fun 2 weeks since I found out about this, but it is an honor and I never say no to Alcoholics Anonymous. So here I am doing something very scary. My sobriety date is August 22nd, 2013. So I just recently celebrated 12 years of sobriety. The first time I ever spoke at a meeting, Rod was sitting in the front row. And I remember somebody told me, like, picture the room naked. And I was like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with that because Rod sits in the front row. And so now I'm thinking about Rod naked again. 12 years later. No, like I said, I never say no to Alcoholics Anonymous, no matter how scary it is. It's an honor to be able to share my story because Alcoholics Anonymous changed my life. And, there's nothing better I want to speak on behalf of because I want everyone to experience what I experienced in this room or these rooms. And like some of it's really good, some of it's kind of shitty, not good. But like I show up for life because this program taught me how to do that. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I do have a sponsor. We met this morning. She told me I'm selfish. So awesome. I'm still selfish. I have a couple women who I take through the book. And I have a home group. It's the Aloha meeting. It's in Danville on Monday nights at 5:30. Come see us. It's really fun. Sometimes we lay each other, which is always fun if you're lucky. And the more meetings I go to in a week, the better I feel. And I think I learn that every single week. There's some weeks I feel restless, I feel irritable. Everything my girlfriend does makes me upset. And I call my sponsor and I'm like, I don't know why I feel this way, And they're like, how many meetings did you go to this week? When was the last time you were of service? Have you shared at a meeting? Have you talked to any other alcoholic about the fact that everything your girlfriend does pisses you off? And I'm like, no, I didn't do any of that. And as soon as I start doing those things, I instantly feel better. And Alcoholics Anonymous teaches me that over and over and over. And I mean, thank God I need to be taught those lessons because if I didn't, I wouldn't come, right? If I got sober and my life is great and everything was rainbows and unicorns, I probably wouldn't come to these meetings because they're inconvenient. Like I very much want to be on my couch right now watching Dexter. And I'm here and I'm so glad that I am. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my drinking. I didn't start drinking until I was around 23 years old. So I didn't have any in high school. I was playing sports. I really wanted to get that college scholarship. And I don't know, it also like wasn't offered to me. I just like wasn't hanging out with people who were drinking I remember once in math, Stephanie Mason opened up like a ring bottle or a ring container and there was weed in it. And I had never seen weed. And I was like, what is that? And I asked her so many questions about it. And she like explained to me what marijuana was. Wow, that is so cool. I'm not going to do that, but thank you for telling me. And the thought of alcohol and drugs it really scared me. I grew up with anxiety and I'm a hypochondriac, like clinically a hypochondriac. And so I don't want to give myself a reason to have a panic attack. And to me, drugs and alcohol equaled panic attack. So I didn't do it. And when I did start drinking, I was 23 years old. My girlfriend of 6 years had just left me and I had no coping skills. I learned very quickly that my first addiction was people. People make me feel different. People make me feel secure. They give me the validation that I need. There's like this hole in me and a person can fill it if I let them and if I force them to, like they will for a little bit. And so I had found this girl who made me feel different. She made me feel loved and secure. And we had this super fun, toxic relationship where I told her how to show up as a girlfriend. And got mad at her when she didn't. And so we did that for about 6 years. And when she ultimately left me, I had nothing. I had dropped out of college. I had quit my job. I wasn't playing hockey anymore. Everything in my life revolved around this girl. And so I had nothing. And so alcohol made me feel better. One of my friends was like, you should try a drink. A drink is gonna, like, I don't know, take your mind off of it. Just like try to loosen up and have a drink. And so I had that drink that night in downtown Boston at PF Chang's, and she was right. It did. It like made me feel a little bit better. So I was like, wow, that one drink made me feel really good. I'm gonna go for another. And so I ended up having to be carried out of that restaurant, like held up on the T in downtown Boston to get home, and threw up everywhere. And I woke up the next morning and I said, wow, that stuff works. I will be doing that moving forward. And so I like made a decision. Alcohol made me feel better. I will be drinking as much as I can when I can to make my brain just shut off. Like I had never found a way to make the thoughts in my brain just shut up. And alcohol did that for me. And so I started drinking pretty much around the clock because, like I said, I didn't have a job to go to. I wasn't in school anymore and I was sad. And so I justified drinking as soon as I woke up in the morning to make me feel better. And so I did that for about 3 months, and I called my mom in the middle of the night one night. She was living in LA. I was in Boston, and I drunk dialed her because that's who I am to my core. I am a drunk dialer. If I have any alcohol in my body, I will pick up my phone and call whoever, whenever, all night long. And so for a while, that was my mom. And I told her that I was drinking too much and that I should really like try to figure this out. And I don't know how to do that. And so my mom, being just the most amazing codependent, just wonderful woman, got on an airplane the next day, came to my apartment, helped me pack it up. And she said, you're moving to LA. And I said, fine, like, that's fine. I have nothing going for me anyway. I might as well move to sunny Cali, you know? And so I got on a plane. It was 2007. The Red Sox had just won the World Series. I like went to, no, nobody cares. So I went to the parade, and then I got on a plane and I moved out. And I remember my mom brought a bottle of tequila to pick me up at the airport, and we drove to the beach in Malibu. My mom poured us shots on the beach, and we like cheers to a new life, you know? New life. And turns out something I didn't know was my parents drank a lot, and I don't remember that growing up at all. My mom will ask me questions about my childhood and ask if I remember her asking me about my ice hockey games, like the night I came home, but also the next day, and like maybe even the next day after that. And I personally thought she just loved hearing my hockey stories. But it turns out usually she was so drunk when I got home that she couldn't remember it the following day. And then sometimes she was so hungover that she couldn't remember that conversation. And so she would ask me the following day. And I don't remember that. But when I moved to LA to live with my parents, I saw firsthand like what their drinking looked like. And it was amazing because they were drinking the way that I was drinking. And my mom's solution for everything is a shot of tequila. And they go to Costco, they buy the wine, the Menage a Trois, you know, in the big case, and it's always in the garage. And then my dad has a bottle of vodka in the freezer. And when he's gone through his bottle of wine, he goes to the vodka and mixes it with just a splash of lemonade in a wine glass. I'm like, okay, I can live like this. This is awesome. And so I got a job at a really gourmet restaurant called Chili's in Thousand Oaks, California. And it was the best job I ever had, like just the best. Those sizzling fajitas, I can hear them, you know? But everybody at Chili's was drinking the way that I was drinking. And it was a new restaurant. Nobody knew each other. It was just opening. So we all came on board at the same time. Nobody knew each other. And it was awesome. It was like I went to college because I didn't mention this, but I didn't end up going to college. I got a full scholarship to go play ice hockey in college. And I was so scared I couldn't do it. We like packed up my stuff. We drove to campus. I couldn't even get out of the car. I had such a horrific panic attack that I stayed home. I told my mom, I said, I don't want to do this. And she said, no problem, honey, you come home. I said, okay. And so I just never went to college. And working at Chili's felt like going to college. And Chili's University. And so people are drinking before their shift, people are drinking on shift. Like I just go to the bartender, I give them a little wink and they're going to give me tequila in a kid's cup. And like, it's just, it really makes for a wonderful evening. And then we go out drinking afterwards. And I did this for years. I worked at that Chili's for 9 years and it was the best. I did accidentally get a DUI on the way home one time. I was drinking too much at work and I blame that like there wasn't a whole lot of meat on the buffalo wings, and that's all I ate that day. So like not enough protein, too much alcohol, like it really wasn't my fault. And so I had to do like 12 weeks of group where we sat in a circle and we talked about our feeling words and like how we're, feeling that day or like whatever's going on in our lives. And I loved every second of it. I was like, this is rad. We get to talk about how we're feeling. Nobody asks me on a daily basis how I'm feeling. I love talking about myself. Everybody listens. This is so cool. And so when my 12 weeks was up, I asked if I could stay and they said no. And I think I should have sought therapy or like a group. But anyways, so I left, disgruntled. And I don't know, like the way my life looked in SoCal with the DUI and I didn't have any goals. Like I did the same thing where I wrapped my entire world around a person. There was this girl at Chili's and she didn't want me, which is what I look for in a woman. Like that is what I want you so much more if you don't want me back. And so she wanted me on like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like if we went out drinking, she was not as straight as she was when she wasn't drinking. And so like it was this whole mind game where I'm trying to convince her to want me, even though I bet if she wanted me, I wouldn't want her. So it's like, it was crazy, but I made this girl my whole world. And so I gave her an ultimatum, as you do. And I said, either like you come out of the closet, like we be in this relationship, or I'm gonna leave. And like, you don't force anybody out of the closet. Like knowing now, like I just like, you don't do that, right? But like, there's me trying to control a situation that clearly has nothing to do with me. And it would affect this woman's whole world and her whole life. And I'm like, do it or I'm gonna leave, And so she helped me pack my car and I moved from LA to Walnut Creek. And luckily, like my sister lived here and I could very easily transfer with work. And so I knew that like if I made that threat, I could do it. And so I did it. And I moved up here and I thought like, okay, fresh start, like, there's nothing like a good geographic to help you reevaluate your drinking. And I thought, okay, I'm going to live with my sister. She has a newborn baby. Maybe I won't drink as much around that newborn baby because like who would do that, right? Like my sister needs my help. And it's basically like she had 2 newborn babies. Like all I did was wreak havoc in that house. I could not stop drinking. The way my drinking looked at that point is I'm waking up like pretty hungover, like with the shakes. I feel like I'm going to throw up every morning. I have to spend like 45 minutes in the bathroom, like dry heaving, getting the shakes to stop. And I like needed to get a little alcohol in my system in order to like come back up, right? I'm like down here, I gotta get here, but I might accidentally get here, because once I put any alcohol in my body whatsoever, I cannot control where that's gonna go. And so every day I'm like playing this science game, like I'm a scientist, like trying to put the right amount of alcohol in my body without overshooting the mark. And very often I did not get that right. I'm either too sick where I can't show up for life or I black out and I like I just can't figure out that ratio. And so I'm going into work every day. The job that I had, unfortunately, it wasn't Chili's because I did get fired. I'll tell you a little bit about that. I got a little too day drunk and I called in for my shift. I said, I'm so sorry, you guys, I'm not feeling well. I'm not going to be able to make it into work today. And they said, no problem. And then about 45 minutes later, after another margarita, I forgot that I did that. And so I did it again. I called them and I just let them know I wasn't feeling well and I wasn't going to make it into work. And then I had another margarita and I forgot that I did that. So I called them again. I called them 9 times that night. And then after I did that, that's where all my friends were. So I wanted to talk to them on the phone because I'm a drunk dialer. I called Chili's all night long and tried to get people to talk to me. And so I got fired. And so the job that I got transferred with was apartment leasing. I was in sales. And so I moved up here to Walnut Creek or this is why I tell people, I moved up to Walnut Creek because I got a promotion, right? Like there's a bigger property up here, so they needed me. And so that's why I moved up to Walnut Creek. And I'm showing up to work every day. I'm in a sales position. I have to wear like a white shirt, a black suit coat, and black pants. And if I were to go like that, like that's weird, but like if I were to open my suit coat, my white shirt is just stained with tequila coming out of my pores. And every day I stink like alcohol. And my coworkers were not shy. They were like, dude, you stink. Like, go in the bathroom and like do something, but you stink like alcohol. And they all knew that. I'm like, I was just like so mad at them all the time because they were constantly telling me like I don't look right, or like one of them noticed like my pants were being weird in the back. So I went in the bathroom and I had put on 3 pairs of underwear because I forgot I put on others too. Because I was so drunk when I woke up. So it was really like a crapshoot of how I'm going to show up to work that day. And so I am working, and again, like I'm so sick every day. I like always had an excuse in my back pocket of how I'm going to be able to leave work, especially because I would bring those airplane bottles, right? I could make 3 last the day. If I like did it right, I could get just enough alcohol in my body in order to get to the end of the day. And sometimes I didn't make it and I would have to find an excuse to leave. Like my sister, needed me to go bring my niece something at daycare, or my brother-in-law this, or like, I got a phone call, my dad had a heart attack, or, something along those lines. And I gotta go. And I just had to go to the bathroom around the corner and get more alcohol, and then I could come back to work. So one day I show up to work and I have 2 black eyes, my nose is broken, and my arm was out of the socket at the shoulder. I'm not really sure what happened the night before. Everything looked fine in my apartment, so I don't know what happened, but I was so drunk from the night before that I wasn't in any pain. I just showed up to work and my coworkers were like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, "What?" And one of them brought me into the bathroom and just showed me blood all over my face. I did not look in the mirror before I went to work, which, I mean, that was not unusual, but like I looked like death. And that coworker took me to the emergency room where they cleaned me up. They like put my nose back in place. They popped my shoulder back in. I had one of those really cool white things on my nose because my nose was broken, and I just like went back to work. And when I walked into the building, all my coworkers were sitting in a circle in the office. I like walked in and they locked the door behind me and they were like, "Christy, have a seat." And so we had a super fun intervention that day where they told me how they are now like officially worried about me. They know I show up to work drunk. They know, that I'm so hungover every day. They know that I'm going out to my car during work because that's where there's alcohol and I have to have a sip of something. Or like they see my empties in the trash can at work and they're like, "We're officially worried about you. Like now you're hurting yourself and this isn't okay." And I was so mad at them. I was so hurt and mad because I truly believed like if anybody lived with the noise that I had going on in my brain, like you would also have to drink. Like I'm just trying to survive. I'm just trying to shut this off. Just like let me lease an apartment and like let's all just go on with our lives. And in order to get my coworker off my back, I agreed to go to an AA meeting. They had Googled like I don't know what to do if your coworker is drinking too much, and Alcoholics Anonymous popped up. And so my friend said, "Please go to an AA meeting with me tonight and I'll leave you alone." I said, "Done, deal." And so we went to the Hut in Lafayette. It was a Monday night and it was a meditation meeting, like where they close the blinds and like the lights are off and like everybody's sitting in silence for 15 minutes. And I was so mad because that means I'm up here for 15 minutes and all I ever wanted to do was like get out of here. And I'm like, if Alcoholics Anonymous just makes me think, like I don't want to be here. And so at the end of the meeting, they asked if anybody had a burning desire. And then they defined a burning desire that if you don't speak up, you're going to go home and drink. And I heard like, "Are you going to go home and drink?" And I was. So my hand just shot up. And everybody turned and looked at me, which was like so fun, but so scary at the same time. And I just said, alcohol's running my life, and I don't actually know what to do about that. And it was the first time I had ever had that thought. It was the first time I ever spoke words like that out loud. Like it scared me. And, everybody said, "Keep coming back." And the meeting ended and all the women came up to me at the end of the meeting and they were handing me their phone numbers. And like giving me hugs and telling me how happy they are to see me. And like, as a gay woman, I was like, okay, it's not, it's not so bad. I got a lot of numbers. And I hadn't really like planned on doing anything like with those. I thought it was very nice. And I put the phone list in my car and I went on with my life. Like I did the thing I needed to do in order to get somebody off my back. And so here, like, close call. And a couple days later, so Wednesday, I was at the DMV. I was trying to like renew my license. My license had expired and I was like a mix of so hungover from the night before, but I had alcohol in my system because again, I'm trying to like find my baseline. And I was filling out the paperwork and my hand was so shaky. I like couldn't figure it out. I couldn't stay in the lines. I couldn't figure out the paperwork. And I called my friend and I was like, I can't do this. I can't fill out the paperwork. And she said, I've been thinking and I don't want you near my child anymore. Like your drinking scares me and I don't want you near my kid. And I mean, her kid was 16. I don't know. It was weird, but like, it like scared me. I don't know. It like something flipped in me. It was that like moment of clarity or like, the desperation. All of a sudden I felt like, oh my God, what do you mean I can't go near your kid? And so I went out to my car and I had some vodka and I took a sip and then I looked at that phone list and I said, I have to do something. And so I picked up that phone list and my mom always said when we were kids, if we're ever in trouble, pray to the Blessed Mother. So like Mother Mary was just a huge figure in my house. We talked about Mary more than we ever talked about God. And so I saw Mary on that phone list and I called her. And just the nicest woman picked up the phone and she came to me at the DMV. She picked me up. She left work. She picked me up. We went to Starbucks. She told me her story. She read to me from the big book. And she said, I really think that you should go to rehab. I said, I think you're right. I think I should go to rehab. And so she called my sister and Mary and my sister who never met, like both took me to the emergency room, sat with me while they actually, I remember nothing. I don't know what happened in the emergency room, but they were calling people and like trying to find me a bed. And they found me a bed at MPI in Oakland. And I remember they told my sister to tell me not to just stop drinking. Like, don't just stop drinking. Like, you need to keep drinking until you get here. And like, this was the only moment I had where I didn't want to drink. Like, I felt so done. I didn't want to drink. And so I learned when I went into rehab that you can have a seizure if you just stop drinking and all these things. And so like, I'm so glad, like looking back on it, that I like made it to MPI. I checked in the following day and I medically detoxed off of alcohol for 6 days. And I was so sick. And I remember telling the intake guy, like, things got a little out of hand yesterday and like, I'm still gonna come, but I need to know 2 things. One, can I leave when I want? And he said, yes. And are you going to tell my work or something? I don't know, something weird. And I just I needed to know that I could walk out of there if I wanted to. And I did. I walked out of there after the 6 days of detoxing off of alcohol because I felt better. And I truly believed that I was not an alcoholic. It's like things got out of hand. But now that I have all the alcohol out of my system, I'm going to be able to do better. I'll just make better decisions around alcohol. That is my plan. I went home that night. My sister picked me up. I went home and I went back to my apartment. My sister had cleaned everything out. There's no bottles anywhere. There was no alcohol in the house. I lived with 2 other women and they knew what was going on for me. They knew that I was stealing their alcohol. They knew I was getting super drunk every single night because I would go to my room. I'd be watching TV with them and I would go to my room and take a sip and then go back and then go to my room and take a sip and go back. And eventually I'm blackout drunk. And then my roommate would text me in the morning and be like, I didn't see you take 1 sip of alcohol. How did you get so drunk? And because of all the drama I was creating at home, one of those roommates moved out. And my name was on the lease. And so I was in charge of finding another roommate. And so I put an ad on Craigslist. This was 10 years ago or 12 years ago when we used Craigslist. And I just put female roommate wanted. And I put some pictures up of the house and just crossed my fingers. And one person answered that ad and she came over. She was telling me how she was getting out of a pretty abusive relationship. She just needed a safe place to go. And I was walking her around, I was showing her the apartment. She asked why we had like a mini bar set up with all the fancy glasses and the shaker things, but we didn't have any alcohol on it. She asked me about like alcohol in the house. I said, oh, that's a funny question, but you should ask. I actually haven't had a drink in about 9 days, and I'm gonna try to like keep this going for a little bit and just see what happens. She said, wow, that's amazing. I'm a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. I have 6.5 years of sobriety. And so I said, move in, please. Now, like no deposit for you. And she moved in, and just like what a sign. Like that is a gift from my higher power. Like I still get the chills thinking about it. And like I can't believe we found each other, and I can't believe like our higher powers set us up to be together, because she just needed a safe place to land while she got out of this abusive relationship. She wasn't from here. She didn't have any family, and she just needed safety. And I didn't know this at the time, but I needed the example of Alcoholics Anonymous. I needed that attraction rather than promotion. And while she was going through this horrific breakup, I remember asking her, like, how are you doing this? Like, why aren't you crying all the time? Like, why aren't you doing bad things to him? Like, why didn't you quit your job or move across the country? Like, how are you doing this? Because that's what happens to me when I go through something hard. I move across the country, I pick up alcohol, and I cry all the time, quit everything. And she just explained that like AA has taught her how to show up for life, even when things are hard. And she would tell me about like conversations she would have with her sponsor, or like the fun activities she was doing after meetings. And eventually I asked her if I could go to a meeting with her. And so she took me to the back alley group on Wednesday night, 8 p.m. at Mayhew, and I loved every second of it. I was so happy to be there. People were so happy to be there. There was like this energy in the room that I can't even explain. Like to this day, I like can't even describe it right, but it was this energy that you could just feel. And everybody like liked everybody for the most part, in that room. And like they would go out after for spiritual tacos, and they would invite me, and people were so excited to see me. Like I would walk in the room, and people are like, we're so jazzed you're here, and I'm, no one's ever jazzed I'm here. And like I wanted to be a part of. And so I remember thinking, I'm going to continue to go to this meeting. Like Wednesdays, check, I will go to that meeting. But I wasn't going to go to other meetings. I wasn't going to do the other things. I wasn't going to get a sponsor. I wasn't going to work the steps, forget the book, like no thanks. But Wednesdays, yes. And then people started inviting me to other meetings, right? I started to get to know people, and I started becoming friends with those people. And they're like, hey, if you like this meeting, you're going to love this meeting, or like come to this party. And I remember going to like a bonfire or something, at somebody's house, and somebody posted it on Facebook. And so like every September, I get to see that memory on Facebook of sitting at that bonfire. I did have bangs, which is like kind of unfortunate. But I love that memory coming up, because it was like one of the first times I like went out and I hung out with people. And like before I knew it, I was working this program. Like I started hearing those things. Like if you find someone who has what you want, or you relate to their story, ask them to be your sponsor. And so I heard that. I heard somebody share, and she had what I wanted, and I asked her to be my sponsor. And all those things that like happened to me in the beginning, the girl moving in, or even Mary like picking up my phone call, it has like, I've later learned that woman was a workaholic. Like she never looked at her phone during work. She would never leave work. She took her job so seriously, and for some reason that day she looked at her phone, and she came to me. She dropped everything and she came to me. I will say that we lost Mary 2 years ago to cancer, which was very challenging and tough. But going to her service, she touched so many lives. So many AA people were there, like the whole room, and it was wonderful. And I just like, I want to like honor Mary every time I tell my story, because she came to me and she helped me. But those things that happened to me in the beginning were my higher power just showing up so clearly for me. And I didn't know that until my sponsor pointed that out to me. And I grew up, like I said, we talked about Mother Mary, and I knew that God was, like a thing. And I went to church. I grew up Irish Catholic, like right outside Boston. And I went to church because I was forced to go to church. My mom made me get baptized and confirmed so that I could get married in a Catholic church. And jokes on her, they don't let gay people do that, I don't think. Oh, well, but I'm like so glad I did all that because I just like, I had like an opening to like God. I do remember that before I got confirmed, we all had to go down to the basement and meet with the priest. And I don't know what it is about priests and basements in Boston, but we went down and we had to sit one-on-one from the priest, and he asked us, or he asked me, he said, "Do you believe in God?" I said, "Absolutely not. I do not." I said, "Don't tell him because I don't want to get hit by a bus in the next week." And like he pointed out to me that like if you think that God could run you over with a bus for not believing in him, then you clearly believe in God. And we just like had this conversation where he like pointed out just like the existence of God in my life. And that's what happened to me when I got a sponsor. My sponsor pointed out the existence of God in my life and all those things that happened to me. That was clearly my higher power saying, like, I'm here, you're on the right track, and like, let me help you a little bit. Like, when that got pointed out to me that that was my higher power, like step 2 and step 3 were so easy for me. Because I just like, I don't know, I can't see it any other way to any other way. To me, that is God showing up in my life. Step 1, I really didn't believe I was an alcoholic. So I go to rehab. I'm telling everyone I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just here to like learn. And I come out and I'm only going to 1 meeting a week. I'm telling everyone who will listen to me, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just here checking it out, seeing what this whole thing is about. And by working the steps and working with the sponsor and going to meetings, I don't know when this happened, but I know I'm an alcoholic. And I cannot control the amount of alcohol that I'm going to put in my body once I start to drink. I want to feel different, and I will take more of anything that will make me feel different, whether that's people, sugar, coffee. I had 7 Red Bulls on a Christmas once because the first one made me feel so good. I'll never drink Red Bull again. Amazon packages, like whatever it is that make me feel any type of way for any amount of time, I want more of that. And I know that, not because I went back out and had a drink, but because you guys taught me that. And it just, something switched inside of me. And so we did the steps together. You know, I got to do my inventory and see my part in things, which is still like my most favorite thing about AA is it shows me like what I'm doing and like how I'm hurting people and how I'm showing up in a way that I don't want to show up. I went to my sponsor recently and I said, my girlfriend's making me so mad. Like everything she's doing is making me so mad. I'm so irritated with her. And I don't know how we got here, but she said, like, why don't you try being the girlfriend that like you want her to be? Like when I order a pizza, right? I get the pizza delivered, I open it up, I look for the best piece and I give that to myself. When I'm making coffee in the morning, I don't even make her a cup. I don't even know where I'm going with that. Like I make myself a cup of coffee and then I go on with my day. My girlfriend, on the other hand, would open up that pizza, say, "Wow, that's delicious. Christy would really love that one." And she would bring me that piece of pizza. And like 9 times out of 10, she's bringing me coffee in the morning. And so I hated this assignment, but for a month, a little over a month, I've been trying to show up as that girlfriend. I give her the piece of pizza with the cheese on it, or like I've been making her coffee. And you know what's so funny is she's more tolerable now. I don't know how that happens. But like, so I get to do an inventory. I had to do another one today, because look at that, she's making me mad again. And it turns out I'm being selfish. And so I get to like clearly see those things. And it has saved me in relationships with my family, saved me in relationships with friends, coworkers. Like I take Alcoholics Anonymous into every aspect of my life because it works for every aspect, because I keep showing up the same way. Without any tools in my pocket, I will show up as a selfish, self-centered person. And it's usually based on fear. I'm scared of something. I'm scared of you not liking me. I'm scared of you being mad at me. Turns out something I've learned is I don't like when other people have feelings, they're super scary. And so like I have a reaction to that. And something I get to do is show up better for my relationship because I know that that's going on for me because I've done the work around it. And so when we did that 4th and 5th step the first time, I got to learn that I take from relationships regardless of how it makes the other person feel. That's what I did in that 6-year relationship where she left me. My whole world was torn apart. I took what I needed from that relationship regardless of how it made her feel. And I didn't see that for so long. And I got to call her and I got to make amends for that. And I hated that. And she loved it. But like, like we got to like close the door on that. And I got to do that in so many different ways. I got to make amends to my family, my sister. My poor sister, who just always came to my rescue when I moved in with her and she had that newborn baby, she would leave in the middle of the night and pick me up at a police station because I tried to get into somebody else's house for thinking it was mine. Or, I would get on BART trying to go from one side of Walnut Creek to the other. I'm not sure why I got on BART, but then I'm in Pittsburgh or something, and she's picking me up on the last stop. And so I get to make a living amends with my sister by showing up for her. I show up for her and I help raise those kids. One of them just entered high school and the other one just entered middle school. And I spent this summer picking them up from their activities and bringing them to their other activities. And I just got to I got to be there for my sister who's going through just a really stressful time. And I get to have a relationship with my niece. And I remember, taking the older one to daycare thinking man, I can't wait to drop this kid off so I can go have a drink. And I get to just show up as a good aunt today. I watched the K-pop movie. If you haven't seen it, it's actually pretty good. Yeah, and what my life looks like today is I try to be a good person. I show up when I'm asked to show up. My mental health is related directly to how involved I am in this program. I cannot pick up a drink. So far, I've been pretty successful at not picking up a drink. What I haven't been successful at is staying sane up here. Because if I don't have that drink in my hand and I don't have tools in my pocket, I'm miserable and I can feel it. I can feel that turn in my body. I can feel it in my mind, the way I'm sleeping, the way I'm eating, everything kind of goes off whack. And sometimes I want to do something about it and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I kind of like the way the misery feels because then I get to complain about it, right? To anyone who will listen, which is not a good look, but I'll do it. But then as soon as I open my mouth and as soon as the words come out that I'm having a hard time, there are so many people in this program that will come out of the woodwork and help me. Everybody wants to hear, whatever's going on. And as soon as I do the things that my sponsor recommends, that my friends in this program recommend, I immediately feel better. And for someone with anxiety, turning my will and my life over to the care of my higher power, God, it's the scariest thing that I can do because I want to have my grips and everything. I want to have my pause and everything. I want you to act the way that I want you to. I want the situation to go exactly as it's planned up here. And so turning it over to my higher power is the scariest thing that I do. And turning it over to my higher power is the best thing I can do for myself because it actually takes away my anxiety. It actually always goes better than how I had it played in my head. And it just I don't know, it relieves something for me. And as hard as it is and as scary as it is, I learn that lesson every single time I have to do it. Oh, this is better. I'm going to let God take this one. And this is actually a lot better. I used to have panic attacks almost every day, full-blown panic attacks that would send me to the emergency room. And ever since I came into Alcoholics Anonymous, I've maybe had 5 in the 12 years that I've been sober. And it's just such a gift. It's such a gift to not have to walk around so anxious all day, every day anymore. I think if I were to keep talking, I would just ramble. And so I don't know if I hit all my points, but I'm done. I gotta go.
No.
I've asked Frank to read A Vision for You, page 164 of the big book.
Frank, alcoholic.
Yeehaw!
Yeah. In the beginning, there was God. I'm just kidding. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we only know a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. I thought it was the right answers. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Thank you.
I've been waiting to say this all year, so here it goes. And Frank's a good guy to say it to. So, hey, Frank, don't call me Shirley. Okay, there it is. Love and service is not just our name, it is what we do. If you would like to be of service to this group, please reach out to our new commitment coordinators. Laura, right here. She will be at the literature counter after the meeting, and her phone number will be in the chat online as well. We are a fun, enthusiastic, and active bunch, and we'd love to have you join us. So if you're looking for a home group, please consider the Love and Service group. All you have to do is put your name and contact info on the phone list at the literature counter in the lobby. After the meeting, we'll be going out for a fellowship to a restaurant called Urban Plates. If you have any questions about that, you can talk to Sarah. She's right there. The next meeting of the Love and Service group is this upcoming Thursday at 7 p.m., where you can attend one of 4 meetings, and it is hybrid as well. The meeting you will be attending out of the 4 would be the Steps, Traditions, and Concepts meeting if you're going to do it in hybrid. But we also have the newcomer meeting, the big book meeting, and the introduction to meditation meeting. Please don't forget for sponsorship and AA information, we have our solution squad here in person and online. If you want to connect about sponsorship, or if you have any questions about Love and Service or AA in general, and if you're available to sponsor, would you please raise your hand? And would you please put your hands together one more time for Christy? Maybe we should all go out to Chili's after instead of. Nice. All right. And for those who wish to, please stand and let's open the meeting with the responsibility statement. Sorry, close the meeting with the responsibility statement, followed by the serenity prayer. I am responsible. When reaches out for help. Now on the hand of AA, I see there, and for that, I am responsible. God is a serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
If you hang tight, you can thank the speaker.
Great.
Thanks for
And
your
you can
service.
unmute yourself.
There she is.
Hey, thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Christy.
Great job.
Great job, Christy.
Thank you so much. That was excellent.
Thank you, Christy. Great job.
Thank you.
Love it.
All right. You're lying awake. You did amazing, Christy.
Good night, guys. Love you.
Good night, Nick. Take care.
Hi, Janet. Thanks for your service.
I don't
Good
see
night, everybody.
anybody
Good
that
night.
needs
Night.
sponsor.
Yeah.
Nobody.
That's a good angle. I like that they have the camera pointing that way.
Oh, yeah, mine. Yeah.
Cool. So, Amy and Frank, have you made yourselves available for a different role?
I switched home groups, so Love and Service isn't my home group anymore, and I've done the Zoom or the online safety and the host and the the
Yeah.
other things, greeter, you know, so I decided I'm putting most all my commitments right now into my home group here, so that's
Nice.
me. But Frank, how about you?
I turn this off. Say hi.
Inglés, hablas? I'm on the speaker seeker committee already.
Okay.
There, you are for this next round as well? You sure
Yeah.
about that? Because weren't you on it before? You still on
We'll talk, Amy.
it?
Yeah.
No, but yes,
Rotation?
but
kidding.
still, I'm on the speaker seeker committee because it would be absolutely impossible for me to do the Zoom thing. I have no
no.
idea how to run a computer, so it would be Amy doing it, and then she would be so mad every Sunday.
I get that.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, well, I hate not to see you all. You guys are like a staple, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll still log in, but we just won't, you know,
Yeah.
have a commitment, but I'll be here, or we'll be here whenever we can.
Sure.
yeah.
It's just, yeah. I gotta,
All right, good night, y'all.
Hey, good
all
night.
right, good night, Chase, take care, bye.
Bye, Chase. Thank you.